breakdown. So Avery and I are going to go through the lore and... Oh, can they hear? Oh, can they hear?
Nope, not at all. Okay, I'll see you, babe. Oh my goodness. Poor Avery and I.
Hey, babes.
Hey, babes, hold on. Let me get the music. The music was aggressive. I just cut it. I was like...
Yeah, you're muted, love. So if you're talking to me, I can't hear you.
Oh, well, everyone else can hear me except for you. Can you hear me now?
I literally said you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Okay. I just want everyone to know that I did just unmute.
Oh, wait. It was my bad.
Oh my God, Avery. How many times have we done this?
Okay, look, I had it muted for the YouTube thing and the whole echoey thing on my computer. My bad. Can you send me the Instagram link or the YouTube link on Instagram so it's easy for me to copy over to my story, please?
I already did.
Did you?
Yes.
It's above the Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, fuck off.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi everyone. Today
is not the day.
Listen, you guys would die laughing at Avery and I. We plan these out so far in advance, and then both of us are just on the struggle bus, I think.
Hot mess express.
All the time. Yeah. So right now we're about to post it on Instagram for anyone who has not seen it. Avery, I'm just going to say smile. Oh, wait, that's my face. Oh, you get to see my really messy desk. Let's do it like this. Let's make it aesthetically pleasing so you don't see my mess. Oh, wait. You moved in that. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you look so cute.
Thank you. I'm hot.
You were the one that wanted to wear the sweatshirt.
You know, but I look cute though.
What is the Slido code? The Slido code tonight is SJM. So it is a very simple one. And to kind of give you guys a little bit of background on how this is going to work, basically what is happening is, okay, there we go. It is now on Instagram. So basically what's happening is we are trying to do, we know that there's so many people that are doing theory talks and theory discussions and all these other craziness, and it's really awesome. However, Avery and I really noticed that there is like not a lot of education on like how to help you come up with theories or like what the basis of which Avery and I have come up on our theories, because while mine have not always been accurate, I'm usually in the right direction, and Avery is in the same boat or she's just accurate. So like it is always one or the other with the two of us. So we just kind of wanted, the point of these lives is we're going to break down specific parts and kind of explain to you guys what daily discussions are like between the two of us, because Avery and I, unlike a lot of people on TikTok, or maybe they do, I don't know, we put a lot of effort into research in regards to outside of SJM books. We'll do a lot of mythology research, you know, a lot of that stuff. And I just want to quickly say too, it's not just Avery and I, like inside of the Discord, inside of the realm, you know, there's also Claire and Samantha, who are also incredible resources for theories. You know, Samantha helped me with the Throne of Glass club last year. She's an awesome resource. Claire is incredible. She was a book talker. We're trying to get her back on Book Talk. And she is a huge Crescent City fan, so she is another incredible resource. Amanda, you know, they have like their own little team more, which I really want to do a live with them to hear some of their theories, because they're not bad. Like, they're really good. Like, they call them crack theories, and I'm like, you guys are psycho. They're not crack theories.
No, this is an actual theory. I'm so sorry to inform you that you're on the right path. And I will be taking this information that you have given me and I will expand upon it.
Yes.
So sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So they're great. So we just kind of want to basically use these lives as a chance to explain to you kind of how we come up with our theories, because there are some people on Book Talk that I think just pull quotes from from sections and don't really like justify it, or maybe they forget key points, which, believe me, Avery and I are not the experts in the Sarah J. Maas universe. There's only one incredible woman who is, and that is Sarah J. Maas. But Avery and I would say that we're
pretty close.
We're pretty close.
I feel like we spent enough time on it to be like, a little. It's like we have like PhDs, but she's like the teacher.
Yeah. Well, or like the best part too is like, we've been doing this since before HOSAB came out. And I think once HOSAB came out, a bunch of people were like, oh, they're not crazy. And I was like, yeah, we're not crazy.
But like, and this is the thing. A lot of people thought we were crazy because they were like, there's no way she would do it. But I was like,
no, she was going to do it.
Excuse me. Have you looked at the breadcrumbs?
Yeah, exactly.
They're there.
Exactly.
I mean, I was right about a certain star sword. So.
Yeah.
She's still mad about that.
Someone said, for those of us who don't have time to put into this, I'm sure we appreciate y'all taking the time for us. Yeah. So Avery, this one especially, we planned in like an hour. We like really were like, although Avery like kicked my ass in this because I made the doc. And I walked away for 5 minutes and the whole ACOTAR section was almost done. I was like, excuse me. And I'm pretty sure I have left out things in the Throne of Glass one. But this is how tonight is going to work. So I'm going to go over Throne of Glass first. I'm going to talk about the lore. I'm going to talk about all that. We're going to wrap it up with some questions. If anyone has any questions about Throne of Glass, lore, world building, all of that. Then we're going to move on to ACOTAR. Avery's going to talk about that. She's going to go over all of that fun details. If you have any questions about that, we can answer all that. Then we are going to wrap it up with Crescent City. And we're going to talk about that one. And then you can ask questions about that. If we have time, we will answer just a theory question in the Slido. However, if you are putting just general theories, just know we're not going to go into a lot of the physical stuff that happens in the book because Avery and I could fall down a rabbit hole for about 4 hours. So we're trying to keep ourselves in an organized place.
In addition to that, each of these books have such deep rabbit holes we could go down that there are going to be specific Theory Thursdays dedicated to some of those theories. Mm-hmm. So this is really just a baseline for you guys to help you understand where we're getting some of our stuff from, where you can be pulling some of your stuff. Like I was talking to Sarah one of the other days and I just like pulled up a mythology and monsters TV show on Netflix and they were talking about Koschei the Deathless. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm going to watch this episode because this is going to pertain to something in ACOTAR. And like, it's little things like that like the lore is there and it may not be exact, but you can always tell where she's pulling influences from.
Yeah, exactly. Taylor said, at least this is organized theory discussion, unlike you two just bombarding the group chats with your chaos. All the time.
Hey, Taylor, don't sit there and pretend like you don't enjoy that.
Yeah. Okay. You definitely
get mad if we go off on our own, come up with a bunch of theories and then come back and are like, okay, so this is what we were thinking. And we've talked about this for like 2 hours. And she's like, excuse me, where was I for these 2 hours?
Well,
and I'm just
there
like,
you go.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and start us off with Throne of Glass, just to kind of give you a basic idea of how we're structuring this. So there are a bunch of different categories in which we're going to be breaking down. Some of those include the mythology that, we feel directly is impacted into the series, historical events inside of the series, holidays, political breakdowns, gods and goddesses, the types of races. I added that for Throne of Glass. I'm sure you can. Yeah. A brief map breakdown, any important weapons, and then I think that's it. So that is kind of how this is going to go. I'm going to do my best to talk as fast as I can and kind of explain it. Again, I probably forgot something and I may mess up what I'm saying. So feel free to correct me in the comments. I don't mind. We are in the middle of our Throne of Glass reread right now.
Yep.
But okay, so the big thing,
Sarah, is starting and you have until 9 o'clock, Miss Ma'am. Go.
Oh, right. You're an hour ahead. I was like, I'm like, you're giving me 2 hours. Like, babe, you don't want me to talk for 2 hours. Okay. So, so the first thing with Throne of Glass is there are 3 types of mythologies based around the series. It is mainly Celtic mythology. However, there is some Middle Eastern mythology with Tower of Dawn specifically. And then there is a few kind of Greek mythology. In my opinion, that leans more towards the death gods and the death side of things. Unlike the other 2 series, at least so far in my reread, I haven't found as many. Is my phone ringing? Hold on. No. Okay. I was like, something is vibrating on my desk and I think it was Marco Polo. And unlike, I think, the other two series, we don't really have like direct myths that are correlating. However, while I'm in my reread, that may change. The main races that we kind of focus in on with Throne of Glass are the Fae, and the witches. Those are really kind of your main two. However, we also encounter something very different, which I wanted to, it's not really a race, but I did want to include it, which is raw magic. And that is something we see with Dorian, and who received his raw magic abilities from Elena Galithinius, which when I show the family tree, it'll make a little bit more sense on that. In regards to the gods and goddesses of Throne of Glass, this is where it gets a little complicated. So there are 12 Aurelia, which, let me back up for a second and talk about the map. So with Throne of Glass, there is, if you've ever looked inside your book, there is obviously the map of Aurelia. One thing that's been a little confusing is if Aurelia stands for the entire world or if it just stands for the continent, of which Terracin all the way down to Eelway represents. For this conversation, I'm just going to call it that continent because we're going to mainly focus on 3 different sections. Aurelia, that map, that is really where we spend the majority of the series. They worship 12 gods, and I can kind of list some of them out, but we'll probably go into more depth with them a little bit later. And then the southern continent, when we go to Tower of Dawn, we discover that they worship 36 gods, which is a little intense. Yeah, it's a little intense. And then you have the witches, who mainly focus on the 3-faced goddess, which I think this is where Avery and I are a little like, ooh, this feels a little crossovery. So those
it is crossovery.
It is crossovery. But so this is kind of where you start to see those breadcrumbs kind of come in. I'm gonna move you guys here so I can see. Anyways, so so we talked a little bit about the map. The main things to kind of note is when you read Throne of Glass, you'll notice that they do describe areas outside of the 3 main sections we spend, which is obviously Aurelia, like I said, all the way from Terracin down to Eelway. Otterlin's in the middle of that. Then you have Wendelin, which is kind of more to the east, and that is dealing with Wendelin, where the Ash Rivers rule, on top of Dornell, which is where, Maeve rules her Fae kingdom. At one point, there was another Fae kingdom in the southern continent. However, they have mysteriously disappeared. Both of us are like, and then obviously you have the southern continent, which is where you spend a lot of time with the Tower of Dawn. So that's all that. Okay, now going into some historical events, and I'm sure I've left some of them out, but I was basically doing it based off of book in my head. So the big one that we hear the most about is the Demon Wars, and this is the one that really revolves around when the keys were made. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background on that. So the way the story is told, and it's originally told in Crown of Midnight from Baba Yellowlegs, and we will go over that in our Crown of Midnight reread. It is very important to, I think, not only Throne of Glass, but the overarching Sarah J. Maas universe. So the story goes that there was a gate, a word gate, and there were 3 keys that were created from that word gate, and they could cross through. The gods of Throne of Glass, I think they specifically are talking about the 12. They were trapped in a pocket realm. They don't call it that, but that's what it is. And the only way they could, be freed is if they reunited the 3 keys and opened the word gate. However, Brannon Galithinius, who was a bastard-born nameless king, then ended up being in possession of the keys. He kept one of the keys. You discover in the series he kept one of the keys. One was sent into Marath, and then the other was hidden with Elena. So they're all kind of spread around. We also learn that Elena Galithinius, who is Brandon's daughter, and Gavin Haveleard, who is her lover, soon-to-be husband, they did fight in these demon wars, and in the series you discover that they have told the world that they got rid of the demons, but the truth is they just locked Erewhon away for the next big person to come in and to basically take care of their mistake, and that would be Aelin. So that is kind of the main backstory there. Then, but there's some little things that we learn along the way, like Athril, probably not saying his name right. This is the one you find out in Heir of Fire. This is kind of very closely connected to Under the Mountain moment in Heir of Fire with Luca, when Rowan thinks it's this genius idea to chain Luca up on a frozen lake and tell Aelin to get him free. But then he discovers that there's a creature hidden under the mountain that's been there for thousands of years. And Rowan throws her a sword that was specifically Athryl's, who is a friend of Bran and Galithinius, and Maeve's lover. And so he has the only ring that can rid people of the Valg. And so it becomes a bargaining piece. Lorcan loves to talk about it a few times.
Lord Lorcan Locken.
Lord Lorcan Locken. Yeah, and then the other obviously big thing is the witches. So there's, before I like kind of go into what the witch event was, because I'm a little fuzzy on this one, I will tell you that there's two types of witches. The most important thing to know is witches were made from the combination of the Fae and the Valg together, and the difference between the two witches is the Kraken witches, which are considered your like good witches. They're the ones that wear the red capes. They lean more on their Fae side, which you find out in Kingdom of Ash, that they also believe in mates and all these other things. And then the Iron Teeth witches lean more on the Valg side. So they have the iron nails and the teeth and all that. You know, spoiler alert, but you find out in the series that Manon is both. But she obviously leans a little bit more towards the Iron Teeth way because of, you know, she can extract her teeth.
It's what she looks like.
Yeah.
As far as the witch event, basically it's the last Kraken witch sacrificed herself and cursed the Western Wastes, and they were all forced to leave their homeland because of that. And so Manon is who.
Yeah.
And the 13th.
And the 13th. Yeah.
Or who bring them back. So that's like a rough bit about the witches.
Yeah. And we'll definitely dive more into this, but again, because
Avery really loves the witches.
Avery loves the witches. I love the witches, but I lean more towards the Fae, so you know. And then the only other thing, I mean, the creature under the mountain in Heir of Fire is like one of my favorite things to bring up. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me talk about it. The only thing I will say is I think it's a really key thing in regards to the crossover. I think it's a hint of something that came over from Prythian. Just because of the way it's described. So if you've not read the story, it is right after or before the end of part 1 of Heir of Fire. It's like right before a break in the book, and it's Emrys is the one that tells it. It's a really good story. So, and they talk a lot about languages of the Fae and all that. So highly going back and reading that. And then the only other thing I wanted to bring up, and something we're still a little fuzzy on and we're in the process of working, is in Assassin's Blade and in Tower of Dawn, we learned that there was obviously the Asterian horses, but also the Asterian armor. It is one that Nezrin and Sartak find when they're looking for the baby Rook in Tower of Dawn. And then obviously Aelin steals one of the Asterian horses, which is odd. That's suspicious.
That's weird.
That's suspicious. That's weird. Yeah. Okay, and then kind of breaking down some of the holidays. So Throne of Glass has a little more holidays than ACOTAR does, but they're very similar. This is where it definitely leans more Celtic. Their names are very Celtic, so they celebrate, is it Samhain?
I think it's Samhain.
Samhain?
I don't know.
Okay. That's like your Halloween holiday. Yulmis. Beltane, that's the one that Aelin is very attached to. It's it's the spring, the fire, all of that. And then obviously Summer Solstice is the only one that goes by Summer Solstice, but it is the one around Dorian's birthday. So those are the kind of the main ones that you hear in the series that kind of come up. There's a few more that get brought up in Tower of Dawn because of their gods. I feel like there was a holiday happening every like few pages because of Kale and Irene were going on a date. They're like, oh, it's a holiday. Like every few, I swear. Anyways, political breakdowns really quick. They're the Kagan and all of the Tower of Dawn stuff we will go through in our Tower of Dawn live, but the only thing I want to highlight, it is very interesting. My favorite facts about them is the Kagan, the way that they pass on lineage is based off of like power and control. It is not based off of generational things, and whoever takes ownership or leads it, usually their siblings either are murdered or can't have children. Like, I think it's very fascinating. And then when it comes to the witches, obviously we have the Kraken witches, who we again go more into detail in Kingdom of Ash, but there are 3 types of witches in the Iron Teeth. There's the Blue Bloods, the Black Peaks, and the Yellow Legs. The Blue Bloods are your priestesses type witches. They usually wear the blue robes, and ironic, they wear blue robes. Don't they have the 8-pointed star? No, that's just the priestess and
it's just the one priestess in Throne of Glass.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's the Black Peaks, which are kind of your they look like they're in their 20s essentially.
Yeah.
And they're like your ruthless assassin-y type witch. That's how I imagine them. And then the Yellow Legs are like vicious. Yeah. They suck. Yeah. So those are your 3. And then the weapons, the big ones that we talk about is Damaris, Guldran, Sword of Arinth. That is the one that's been passed down in Terracin. That's the one that Adian holds. Guldran is the one that we find in the lake. And then Damaris is the one, Sam's going to correct me if I mess that up because I always mix up Damaris and Guldran. But Damaris is the one that is from Gavin that Dorian holds. And at the end it turns into a black blade because it can tell the truth. You're welcome.
That sounds familiar.
And then the final thing, obviously, is Manon with Windcleaver.
Yes.
And then right before we totally switch things over, I'm going to show you the maps really quick, just so you guys have like a general, or the family trees. Because this is going to take me like 2 seconds to pull up. I'm going to go through these super quick. These are in the Discord, by the way, for anyone who has like not seen them. They are full spoilers. Okay. All right, so this is the Havelear House, Havelear, however you're going to say that, I don't remember. And the main thing to note about this one is, and the thing people tend to forget, is obviously Aelin Galithinius and Gavin Havelear, whatever. They started it. It was, Otterlin was gifted to them by Brandon Galithinius, and Elena was Fae, Gavin was human. And then obviously thousands and thousands and thousands of generations later, we have the King of Otterlin. We have Georgina, though that is Dorian's parents. Georgina, the most worthless mother in all of the series. And then we have the 2 brothers, which is Dorian and Holland, who are both human. So that is those 2. Then next up, we have the Ash River House. So this is the most interesting one because obviously we're going to talk about Mab, Mora, and Maeve, the 3 Fae Queens, really quick. Mab is the one that she started the Ash River House. But what is the most interesting about her is you notice that she is the great grandmother of Aelin. So this is a direct line, which is what makes Aelin's blood Fae so strong because of being so closely tied to Mab. So there was obviously someone in between. Then you have Evelyn and Ro, and then Aelin, and then obviously her direct cousin is Galen, and Galen, and then her direct uncle is Galliston. Those are the 2 people that rule they're the current ruling family of the Ash Rivers. And then their cousin, who is Adian's mother, was human, I think. I'm assuming she wasn't very clear. And then you have Gavriel, who is Fae, and then Adian, who's demi-Fae. So some people always get confused if Adian was a first or second cousin. He was a second cousin, because it does say that Evelyn and Adian's mother were cousins. So that is always something that comes up.
That's either second cousin or first cousin once removed. It's one of the 2.
Yeah. Then you have the Galithinius House. So this one is less complicated, but something we realized last year when we were doing the family tree was like, there had to have been another sibling besides Elena, because how else did the Galithinius line move on? So there was someone who Elena was directly descended to, and that is really the start of the Galithinius Terracin family. Orlin Galithinius, he was the last ruling king before, everyone died. So that is Ro's uncle. Ro is Aelin's father. And obviously he was in a relationship with Darrow, who we all hated, but he must have been nice to somebody in the Galithinius family. And then you have Aelin. So this one's a much easier family tree. And then the final one, which this one is a little confusing. This is the Whitethorn family tree. Let me just say, we don't know a whole lot about them. We just know there's a ton of them. So this is probably not even half of them. But the important thing to note is these are the ones that you mainly hear of. Ellis Whitethorn, who is up here in the top. This is the one who raised Rowan after he was age 20 because his parents had faded at that point. So Rowan lived with him during that time. So he, really grew up with him. Selene is obviously at the end of the series, we discover she is the new reigning queen of the Fairy Queen of the East. So that is just something really quickly to know. And that is the family trees. So any questions about Throne of Glass? Look at that. I did that in 20 minutes.
I'm really proud of you. Now I got to see if I can beat it.
20 minutes. Okay, let's see. Any questions in here? Always been confused on the Throne of Glass gods. It was never really went into details on how they got stuck. What's y'all's theories on them? Will we see them again? Yes, I think we will.
Yeah. Or we've already seen them.
What do you mean?
Like,
do you mean
Deanna and like?
Oh yeah, Deanna and Luna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, because the one thing I forgot to mention, I'm just gonna subtly bring this up, and because now everyone talks about it, is in Empire of Storms, Aelin has silver flames, and they're from Deanna.
Somebody else has silver flames. There's a whole book named after it. It's fine.
That's what brought it up.
And I fucking know. I'm emphasizing your point, Sarah. Turn your brain on.
Can you explain how Rowan and Aelin are not related? Yes. So, okay. There is Mab and Mora. We're going to ignore Maeve because at this point we all know that Maeve's a fake bitch. Okay. Yeah. So there's Mab and Mora, and they're the two ruling Fae queens. Mora, who Rowan is related to, she essentially got together with a Whitethorn very early on and just started making them Whitethorns. Okay, so there's lots of them. They're literally they should be rabbits instead of birds because there's lots of them running around. Okay, Rowan even talks about how much he doesn't like to go home because there's so many of them. All right, so there's generation, there's tons. Okay, Mab was a little more refined, going to wait, so she is an earlier line. So between the two, there's so much that happened that they're not actually directly related. It's kind of like, have you guys ever heard, this is such a US thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and use this as a reference. Have you guys ever heard of anyone who's related to Thomas Jefferson or Abraham Lincoln or George Washington? They get together for family reunions, and nobody looks alike because there's so many generationals removed. No one is directly related at that point.
So what we're saying is that they are related in the most distantly of sense that it doesn't freaking matter.
It doesn't matter. In fact, I think technically Dorian and Aelin are closer related than Rowan and Aelin are.
Probably.
I didn't work out. Yeah, I think they're a little closer related. Now, the reason is because Elena was married to a human, and so she probably she definitely faded earlier because he was human.
I mean, also it's not only distantly related because of a bunch of people or fae, whatever.
Yeah.
But we're also talking hundreds of years, people.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years. Are we really going to get into cousin semantics that way?
Yeah.
Really?
I really love Rowan's line in Airfire where he's like, you and I share less blood than the pig boy in the Mistward. You're such an asshole. But yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know why. I don't know either. And listen, Sarah just needs to stop making people related. Okay. Someone goes, theory, under the mountain are portals. The creatures from Airfire, the prison, people trapped in walls fail to travel. It's something like that. I mean, we'll go into more detail.
We haven't even talked about ACOTAR yet.
It's all I will tell you about the reason I like to bring up that Airfire story is because when I read it, after I had read ACOTAR, light bulb went off. So something is going on there. Oh, the one thing I forgot to mention, let me just bring it up really quick. The Wolf Tribe of Terracin! The Wolf Tribe of Terracin! Okay, so this is one of my favorite things. I can do this in 2 seconds. So the Wolf Tribe of Terracin.
I don't care.
The Wolf Tribe, I know, but I'm trying to I always love to bring up the wolf. I swear to God, at one point, somebody's going to be like, Sarah, stop talking about the Wolf Tribe of Terracin.
I swear to God.
We don't go to Terracin.
Okay.
Okay.
God damn it.
You did that one. I didn't even.
I know. We did it at the same time. Okay.
Okay. So the wolf tribe of Terracin is basically the only thing you need to know about them is they were a group of fae, because before the magic fell 10 years ago, there was a lot of fae that lived in Terracin / Orinth, that area. And they were a bunch of fae that were shifters who could shift into a wolf, and when magic fell, they stayed as wolves. And so when magic returned, they still stayed as wolves, and they live literally above, get ready for this, they live above Rune Mountains. Okay, so I'm not saying,
but you're saying.
That's how we gonna get that new Fendir lady. She gonna be a great alpha with all them wolf from Terracin.
And then, just in case it wasn't clear to anybody who read Hosab, all of the shifters are descended from the Fae.
Yeah, if I have to explain that to you,
because obviously the wolves are from this wolf tribe, but all of Lydia Servos is descended from a throne of glass fae.
Yes. Well, yeah, except we've never.
Shifter.
Although I will say this, because a lot of people will say this, and I just want to go ahead and debunk it now. We have never seen anyone from the Galithinius line shift into a deer. Okay? That doesn't mean she's not related to it, because she may have some fire powers. That's still up in the air. But we have never seen her. We've never seen a Galithinian. Everyone's like, oh, but no. Okay. The other thing I just want to get out of the way before Avery talks is the timeline is moving like this. It's moving like this. Okay. So when Aelin falls through the worlds, Avery and I are pretty sure, just to match it up, it's in obviously Silver Flames. Okay. And the Crescent City one, I'm willing to bet it is between Earth and Blood and Skybreath. It is the in-between. So if you're coming in here telling me that anyone from Crescent City is a descendant from Rowan, Reese, no.
They're called stacked worlds.
Dorian should just shift into a deer. Yeah, he should. Okay. Okay, we're going to talk about that last. We just talked about the portals. We will talk. Do you think all witches from different worlds are made from the Valgan Fae? We can save that one for later. Windhaven and Prithian, Windhaven and Tower of Dawn. I've connected the dots. You've connected the shit. I connected them. Avery will talk about that one. Aelin and Dorian were on recent Fae and Nessa's. Okay. If you guys are, by the way, for anyone putting these in 1, 2, and 3, I wouldn't recommend that, because the way Slido works, it's gonna mess up your question. So try and keep it in 1, or whatever. Witches, we talked about that. Oh, God of Truth, Sin Eater, Queen of Shadows. For anyone who doesn't remember, when they are taking the stuff to make the bomb to explode the castle, they go under a tunnel and they discover that there was a god who's the God of Truth, who was a Sin Eater. And people were putting all their truths, and that's the end of it. In the list, I have all the gods listed, and so we'll put that on Patreon so you guys can read it. But if you also go to the Wikipedia page, it'll go into crazy detail about all of them. It's very exhausting. Okay.
Again, we're not going into heavy detail with this live. So just keep that in mind when you're asking your questions. Please ask them, because they could show up in another Theory Thursday, but they may not show up tonight.
Yeah.
Cool.
And to explain, I'll just list off all the gods in 2 seconds. Ready? Anieth, Deanna, Hellas, Kiva, Lani, Loomis, Tehom, Silba, the God of Truth / Sin Eater, Temis, Fahar, Farnor, not Fahar, Farnor. And then the Southern Continent, we've only heard of Inna, and then obviously the Bass Cats.
Cool.
Last round for Throne of Glass questions before we move on to Akatar.
This is my. I'm ready. You guys aren't prepared.
I don't think you're ready for this, Jelly. I don't think you're ready for this. I might get copyright struck for that.
That's fine.
It's fine. Let me think what else. I mean, there's definitely some breadcrumbs for some stuff when in Kingdom of Ash while we're waiting. I'm just gonna.
Okay. So the main, obviously, because of Hosab, we know that the main crossover connection is between Silver Flames and the Crescent City books.
Yeah.
Those are your major ones. But the amount of shit we have found in other books.
Yeah.
Guys, she's been planning this for a minute.
The funny thing too is, so if you look up the timeline in which Sarah came out with the idea of Crescent City, it was I think it was during the press tour of Heir of Fire. So yes. Queen of Shadows was technically already written, but if you look at Empire of Storms on, you're like, oh, got it. But just for anyone wondering, when we do our reread, we're going to announce the schedule, and something Avery and I had discussed was, we're going to leave it one live for every Throne of Glass book, but when it comes to ACOTAR and Crescent City, we might expand a bit more on the Silver Flames Crescent City books.
Because it's my baby. Well,
yes, but
also it has information you need.
It has important information you need. Someone said Mort. Yeah, we didn't talk about Mort. Mort, the door knocker that we never ever found out if he lived or not.
Yes.
I hope he died.
Mort has information. So
poor guy. That. He just wanted. I think at one point he just wanted to die. He just living in that little tunnel for so long, no visitors, and then it just
very Alice in Wonderland.
Very Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, it's such a good point. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me just do one last round of checks. We'll talk about that. That's more of a Okay. Go ahead. You guys ready?
Hi.
Go for it. I'm going to sit and enjoy this.
Okay, friends. So, going kind of the way Sarah did, I'm going to first talk about gods and goddesses in ACOTAR. So the ones you're probably going to remember are the death gods, the weaver, the bone carver, Koshé. They're all related. Then you have Lanthus and Bryaxis, which are both these like mist-like creatures. They are not necessarily related, but they do have very similar powers. And then Lanthus can shift into a humanoid figure, and he bleeds black. Shocking. The mother and the cauldron are the two main like gods in ACOTAR. So you've got the mother, which is a lot of what the Silver Flames leans on. Nesta has a connection to the mother. And then also Cassian, instead of referencing the cauldron, he references the mother more. So I have this idea that the Illyrians probably lean more towards the mother side of things, which is weird for their culture, but maybe it's just Cassian, unclear. And then the cauldron tends to be more high fae based. So a lot of the high faes talk about the mothers, or the cauldron. And then there's also some Illyrian gods that they didn't go into heavy detail. Brief map breakdown, things to remember. There are the mortal lands of Prithian, and it has Feyre's village. The courts are spring, summer, autumn, winter, day, dawn, and night. Highburn is its own little island off to the side. Yes, this looks like the UK. Yes, it is like Ireland. Anyways, the continent has Rask, Montserrat, Valahan, and Koshé's Lake. Valahan is where Mor spends the vast majority of her time in Silver Flames. So it is also very, very closely sounding to Valhalla, Valahan, Valhalla, which is Norse mythology. So think of that. The mortal lands on the continent have the capital of Scythia. And then there's the wall, which we know comes down.
Who else spent a lot of time in Valhalla? Valahan, whatever.
You're going to remember better than I do because I remember bringing it up last night, but it has left my head.
You mean that awful bitch priestess, Ianthe?
Mm-hmm.
Got you, boo. Got you, boo.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I'm always going to forget Ianthe because she's a bitch. Ianthe.
Someone said, don't skip that. Us Irish are pissed.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay, keep going.
So Ianthe in the years of Amarantha's reign was in Valahan.
Pansy.
Cool. Historical events, things that you need to remember. The war from 500 years ago that Rhys fought in, as well as Cassian and Azriel. Tamlin was too young, so was Lucian. They were not fighting in that war.
Was Lucian even alive?
Yes.
Or was he like
Pretty sure. Pretty sure baby.
Was he being conceived in that one?
I mean, possibly. Unclear.
Oh, okay. Okay. I wasn't sure. I was curious.
I think he's around Tamlin's age, and we know they were both alive but too young.
Okay.
I think he's slightly older than Tamlin, if I remember correctly.
Okay, that makes sense. Maturity.
The Annalius Pass, which is when Annalius stood in the pass above Romeo. It's why they do the blood rite every year, and he fought off all of these people.
Wait, that's how you pronounce that?
That's how I've always pronounced it. How do you say it?
I'm not even gonna say it. Hearing you say that, I was like, that's how it's pronounced. I mean, that sounds very accurate. I'm not questioning it.
How do you say it? Now I need to know.
I'm pretty sure I just went and
yeah, so it's the Annalius Pass is what I call it.
Okay,
we don't have a pronunciation guide for Silver Flame, so we're all flying by the seat of our pants because I don't know about you. I love Stina Nielsen, but I do not like her Cassian voice, nor will I ever listen to it.
Or her favorite voice, or her Reese voice. No, thank you.
Yeah, I
know.
I didn't make it past chapter 1. Listening to that audio.
Wait, if someone owns it, I just want to hear certain scenes. Like, I don't want to.
I have no desire.
I just want to know. Like,
Cassie's voice in my head is God tier. I don't need that. I don't need
when she's like, hold on to the headboard.
No. Okay, you are. Hey, if I run over 20 minutes, it is because of you.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, so the Hybrid War, things to remember: the attack on Valaris and the slaughter of the Golden Queen, the making of the Archeron sisters in the Cauldron, the attack on Adriata, and the High Lords meeting. Those are all very big things that you need to remember. Nayfel's Run. Guys, it is the one time that Asriel talks for any extended length of time in the entire series. Pay attention. Okay. Also, Nayfel is important. It helps Feyre fly, whatever. And then she gets to meet her, which is cool.
And that's Greek mythology.
We think so. It's more along the angel myth that we're talking about because it's with the seraphims and the peregrines. Anyways, continuing. Amarantha's reign, something important to remember. Cool.
Cloud nymph and Greek mythology.
Okay. This is where I'm going to spend the vast majority of my time when we're talking about historical events.
Do you like how Taylor just yelled at me for yelling at you about Asriel? Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
No, I didn't. Also, I'm seeing something about Lucian's mother. What are you going to tell me about later?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that was when Lucian's mother was chased by the Hybrid soldiers, and so he was conceived at the 500-year war.
Probably, but I don't know.
It's not concrete.
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot we know about LOA.
I feel like we have to. Avery and I will both have to go back to the meeting in Akawar, which neither one of us has a problem rereading that, and confirming that. But one of us is right, and or we're both right. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the High King of Prithian, this is where I'm going to spend the vast majority of my time. The only other thing you need to know outside of this is really Amaran's arrival and imprisonment. Those are significant events within our people. Okay, so the High King of Prithian, things to remember. The prison island is where the High King ruled from. It is the Dusk Court-ish situation. Sarah doesn't believe that. I'm still piecing it together, but yes. The absorption of the Fae in the prison mountain is an event that happens. We find out through Nesta's interaction with the harp. And then the 8-pointed star is on the floor and the harp is sitting on top of it. And it is also plays a huge and significant role in Silver Flames, the 8-pointed star. Pay attention to it. After the High King, basically, okay. So the crossing happens because Queen Thea and Prince Peleus, who we know from Crescent City, stole the Star Sword and other sacred objects from High King Finn. And High King Finn then lost, and then Amren went into the prison, or when she went into the prison and there was still a High King. She came out and the courts were there. So in the time that Amren was imprisoned is when the fall of High King Finn happened. So cool. That's your brief overview of historical events in ACOTAR that you need to be paying attention to. Weapons. Let's talk about actual weapons, and then let's talk about things that should be considered weapons. So actual weapons, you have Narbin, you have Cassian's sword, you have Truth Teller, you have Nesta's trove, which is Ataraxia, a dagger, and a sword that are all made and imbued with her silver flame power. Then you have Gwydion, which is the Star Sword, which we found out at the end of Hosab. And then
wait, hold on. Do you want to just take a second and be real smug about that?
I mean, I'm always real smug about that.
No, you are. I know you are. I know Avery wants to take a second and be smug about Gwydion's sword.
I'm going to be smug about Gwydion's sword forever because
I know.
You almost made me not talk about it.
Yeah, so just a very, very quick recap on this conversation we're having. So when Avery and I did our Crescent City recap nights, is that what it was?
February 4th.
February 4th. Oh, no. It wasn't recap nights. It was the crossover chat. So
the crossover theory chat with Sam.
Yeah. So we did a crossover theory chat, and we had, I mean, the doc was like 20, 30 pages long. It was wild. And I was like, Avery, we need to go through here and cut some of them out. So I, being the asshole that I am, cut out any theories that I felt were too ACOTAR specific and not very like crossovery. And I almost cut the High King Finn one about Gwydion's sword, and Avery was like, no, I can do this in like 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So we kept it. And then I think it was a few days later, it got...
No, it was the Tuesday after the Friday we did it. But I told you the night before that I could do it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you were doing okay, so these are the things we're going to talk about next in the live. And I went, but before we go on, I am going to talk about
Yeah. So she did talk about it, and like she explained it really quickly. And then that was Friday, and then Tuesday Hosap got leaked. And I think it was either that day or the early morning of the next day, the page got leaked that Gwydion was the Star Sword. And Avery was so smug all night. She cried. And then if you go back and you watch the Hosab live, fun facts. Number one, I knew that the shifters were Fae, and I knew that Avery's theory was correct. I also knew about Reese, and so I trolled everyone in the live.
I filled the entire chat, and I had to think very on my feet because I didn't know she was going to do it.
Yeah.
And so she goes, Avery's theory is garbage. And I was like, my theory is not garbage.
And the only people that knew she was right was myself, Izzy, I think May knew, and
May's sitting there going, you're such a liar.
Yeah,
you're such a liar.
And then and so that happened there. And then I also, because we had a this or that chat, and I remember I was like, would you rather be Earth and Blood or Sky and Breath? And I was the only person that said Earth and Blood, and Avery was just like, because she knew why I said Earth and Blood. Like, no one else did. And then also, I was the one that straight up said to Avery, well, I mean, Reese isn't just going to show up. People really hated us. But anyway, so if you're ever wondering if I troll Avery, I do. And I will call her an idiot when I know 100% she's accurate, because Avery's a very smart person. So if I ever do that.
So anytime she's calling me an idiot, I'm right. Is the moral of that story.
Yeah. I don't actually call her an idiot if I think it's stupid. She calls me one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she does. She's like, Sarah. She's like, where did you come up with this? And I'm like, I don't know, just go with it.
And I'm just like, no, I'm not just going to go. I need evidence. But here's the thing. Okay. This is the only thing I'm going to say about Gwenriel for like a half a second.
Yeah.
My entire TikTok situation has started with that ship, and I have found that there is a lot of discourse around it and discord around it, and I always wanted to present anything with as much evidence as I possibly could so that people could not tell me that I was wrong.
It's okay.
Because I hate being told that I'm wrong. I take it very personally.
Yeah, I get it.
So I have always, anytime I do a theory, I spend months on it.
Yeah.
I spend months on it before it shows up on my TikTok. It is never like a really quick thing for me.
Yeah.
So,
Avery and
yeah.
I both in general, unless for me, I think if you see me be like, okay, this is a crack theory, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We don't typically we don't say our theories on TikTok just because, number one, a lot of them are like not fully baked, which is why it takes us so long to do lives like this. And because, you know, we put a lot of research into it, and then, you know, you guys are awesome and you tag us in a ton on TikTok and we're like, no, but we don't want to be that asshole, because everyone's entitled to having fun in theory, and we don't think we're always right, but you know, we do a lot of research.
Right.
If the shadows respond to Gwen, then they're destined for each other, Avery.
I'm fully aware of that. I know exactly. I know to the page break.
I know.
Where the solstice Azrael bonus chapter falls in Silver Flames. If anybody wants those page numbers, I'm happy to share them. Anyway,
okay, go back to ACOTAR, because I put you on a tangent.
Okay, so weapons. We're finishing up. So finishing up with the weapons these are weapons that are not weapons in the traditional sense.
Ooh,
so you have the mask, the harp, and the crown. The dread trove. Dread. There's an R in there, people. It is not the dead trove. It is the dread trove. You dread being around them. Dread. Okay. I'm done.
She's doing that because every time I talk about it, I'm like, so the dead trove. She's like, it's not dead.
Okay, moving on. Okay, so holidays you need to pay attention to in ACOTAR. The only ones that really show up. So we are told there are minor holidays in each of the seasonal courts,
right?
As well as some of the summer or of the solar courts. But the vast majority of the holidays are tied to the seasonal courts because they are the ones that have to imbue the seasons within the land. Cool. So you have winter solstice and you have summer solstice. Winter solstice is celebrated highly in the night court and in the winter court because it is the longest night of the year. Summer solstice, same situation. Summer court, day court. Cool. Ninsar Starfall. Ninsar is a minor spring holiday that also coincides with Starfall in the night court. Yes. Okay. Callan May, or the Great Rite, is when spring is imbued in the land. It is an orgy.
Lots of drums.
And it is a requirement of all of the High Lords. So the main one is Tamlin, but they all have to participate to bring spring. Yeah.
I remember. And wait, for anyone wondering, because we talked about this, when it happens in Mist and Fury, it's when they're in the cabin, right?
That is correct.
Damn, good for Rhysand.
No, we love to see it.
We love a High Lord getting it on with some
There's
paint.
a reason he flew really quick to that cabin, because he wasn't going to do it with
he
anybody
didn't
else.
fly. Okay, wait, now I get to correct you. He didn't fly to the cabin.
No, he couldn't winnow to the cabin. He had to fly.
I thought he walked to the cabin.
No, he couldn't winnow to the cabin because his magic was being tracked. So he had to fly, which was the long way. And that's why it took him so long, because he had to heal his freaking wings before he could fly to her.
Okay, fine, you won.
This is why I'm the ACOTAR encyclopedia in your Discord. Okay. The only other holiday that is briefly mentioned is Midsummer, which is one of the first times Rhysand takes Feyre to a party under the mountain.
Oh, right.
Okay. Political breakdown. The political breakdown of Prithian and as it stands right now. We're not talking about when there was a High King. Well, that's a whole other thing. So as it stands right now, you have the High Lords of Prithian, the King of Hybern, the Mortal Queens over on the continent, the Illyrian Lords, and the Priestesses. So the Priestesses are their own political power. They can go court to court, not an issue. Same kind of with emissaries. But the Priestesses, you're going to find them everywhere. Okay. The last thing I'm going to talk about are the major actual mythological influences you will find in ACOTAR. Now, these are just things I'm going to touch on really quickly, but I'm not going to like go into heavy detail. So first, let's talk about Slavic, because that's not one that a lot of people register.
Yeah.
But Slavic is Koshchei, the Deathless. That is the actual myth. But we also Koshchei. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And then Illyrian culture is South Slavic. So you're going to find a lot of influences in the South Slavic region, which is made up of a bunch of different countries, and you can't really discern what they all are.
Also, just want to quickly add, because I'm gonna, for anyone who's an idiot like myself, I didn't know that like that was a real country,
a real group of countries. But
yeah, yes. I didn't know that. So for anyone who didn't know that, Illyria is a real group of people. So
yeah, they are real people.
They're real.
And we're going to talk about this in Crescent City, but
yeah,
the Great Library of Parthos is Illyrian.
Mm-hmm. The Great Library of Parthos.
Woo! Okay. Greek mythology. So Greek mythology influences the best, most obvious one to me is the Hades and Persephone retelling of Mist and Fury.
I'm sorry. Who is the Hades and the Persephone? Just so we get that in writing.
Sarah is Persephone because she is the bride of spring, and Reese is Hades because he is the Lord of Night.
I just want to make sure everyone hears that, because if I hear one more person say that Elaine and Asriel is Hades and Persephone, I'm gonna say, been there, done that. Had paint in a cabin. So I think we're good.
Okay, moving on. I just saw the part about Varen getting it on. So I'm going to look back down at my computer screen.
I don't know why they're talking about that in the comments. It's gross.
Yeah, no, what we're not going to do is talk about that.
Why did no one bring up Tarquin? Why did no one bring up Helion? Like, come on.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there's just some really sexy High Lords, and we just went right to Vernon.
And we're talking about the one who is the least sexy.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Disgusting, guys.
Like, even if Tamlin pisses me off, he is sexier than Varen.
Yeah.
That's just math.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greek mythology, almost done. So the mother is another Greek myth situation because she is heavily related to the three-faced goddess, which in Greek mythology is Hecate. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
The mother, three-faced goddess. She's in all three books, guys. She just has a different name.
Who also is what is another name of the three-faced goddess?
Besides Hecate?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Sarah, what you're fishing for.
Morgaine.
Okay, yeah, no, I was not going to say that.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know she's another three-faced goddess.
Why do you say Morgaine every time? It's
because that's what it is. In Celtic mythology, it's Morgaine.
Spell it?
Morrgain. Morgaine.
Okay.
Math is mathing.
Math is mathing, and math is hard. Okay. And then Greek mythology, the other reference that we're not going to talk about at any detail, but is my very personal favorite. And if one more person tells me that the Valkyries are not going to ride in on the Pegasuses or Pegasi, because Sarah J. Maas is not going to relate it to Marvel in any way, shape, or form, I am going to ruin your life.
Wait. Back up. Sorry.
Oh, I had a whole comment section.
Why? Okay, sorry. I'm just going to no filter for a hot second. Are people that dumb and think that it is just a Marvel thing? Like, that is genuinely in mythology about the Valkyrie.
So the Valkyrie ride in on horses. They ride in on war horses. They are not technically winged horses.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
It's like
maybe they are winged horses. I don't remember.
It's like the same thing.
I have an entire video on my TikTok called Valkyries and Pegasuses. If you want to go look at it, go look at it. Okay. Moving on.
Rude. Okay, got it.
Celtic mythology, the Cauldron and Morrigan. Those are the two main Celtic myths that you're going to find in ACOTAR. Last but not least, Norse mythology. Valahan, sounds very like Valhalla, and the Valkyries. The Valkyries.
Gwen does need her own life-size Pegasus. I would agree with that.
I love Gwyneth Verdora so much.
I know.
I don't think you comprehend.
I do.
I think you comprehend. I don't think they comprehend.
No, I think they do.
I don't think anybody comprehends because the level you think I'm at, I promise you, I'm astronomically higher than that. I just kind of tone it down a little bit. This is me toning it down.
I know.
Stress.
I know.
Anyway, so that's my entire document section.
All right. Any questions about
Okay, I would like to point out that I started that at my time, 8:53. So I did it in 17 minutes with your interruptions.
Okay, well, you also had like what? 4 books to go through? I had 8.
At least I remembered all my shit.
Okay, fuck off. You know what? Next time we're switching it up, and you're talking about Throne of Glass, and I'm talking about ACOTAR, and let's see how well that goes.
I think that is to the detriment of everybody watching. Because can I talk about Throne of Glass? Yes. Can you talk about ACOTAR? Yes. But us switching, probably not the best idea, Sarah.
No, it really is. Oh, God. Avery is to Gwen as Sarah is to Rowan. Yeah.
There's a reason I'm bi, guys. Happy Pride.
Yeah. Someone today was like, Rowan is the most straight male that Sarah J. Maas has written. And I went, yeah, I know.
I mean, okay, but like of the Bat Boys.
Oh, well.
Me being in love with Cassian, like.
Yeah, but he's definitely done it with a guy at least once.
He tried it.
He tried it. Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Rowan has never tried it. He just knew. He was like, no. Larkin's like, nope.
Not for me, guy.
Yeah.
All right. How do you want to split up Crescent City?
Really quick. Someone did ask a question about I'm gonna mess up their names. First off, so there's a few questions about ACOTAR for you. So could you explain the twins and their roles in the Night Court? Most have forgotten that they are the bakers and only there as friends for Elaine.
Isabella.
There's no way
that's not her question.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So
the twins,
Nuala and Caradwyn, those are their names, are wraiths who were trained.
See, it wasn't. It was Kate Denver. She was the one who asked.
Kate, you're a beautiful human soul who sounds very comically like my friend Isabella, and that is a compliment.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So, they are wraiths who have been trained by Asriel and can walk through walls. We find that out in ACOTAR. They befriend Elaine. There is a myth on Caradwyn, if I remember correctly. Is it Celtic or is it Norse? It's one of the two.
I think it's Celtic.
I think it's Celtic. It sounds more Celtic.
Yeah, I think it is, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
But yes, they are significant, though a minor character. And I have a very good feeling about them being heavily involved in an Elaine book.
I would agree. Yeah.
I don't think that they won't have a part to play in an Asriel book. I think they definitely will.
Yeah.
They are spies and they were trained by him.
Yeah.
But I think if we're going to find out more about them at all, it's going to be through an Elaine book because she's the one who's befriended them.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
It just, yeah, I would agree.
So we don't know a whole lot about them other than those surface facts.
Yeah. Someone then asked, and this is tied to all of this, so and
they like to bake bread. That's another thing we know about.
So we can go into this a little bit more later, but I think it's something that's interesting. It says, could there be a connection between the storylines of the Archeron sisters and Morgan and Elaine of the Arthurian legend? Both have 3 sisters and Fae, also Avalon, etc. I think so too. I think there's some very clear Arthurian vibes.
Yes. When we talk mythology, I am constantly looking at Arthurian myth for ACOTAR. There's a lot that you can pull from, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Windhaven and Prithian, Windhaven and Tower of Dawn.
That is a connection that Team Mort turned me on to.
Yeah.
I will not disclose who Team Mort is because they're my favorite humans.
We already told them earlier today.
Okay. But yeah, so there is a location in Tower of Dawn that we find out through Sartak or Bort, one of the two, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And it is a name in the language that they speak that translates to Windhaven.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Windhaven is the name of the Illyrian training camp where Rhys, Asriel, and Cassian all trained, and where Nesta was supposed to train, and where Feyre and Mor and Rhys and Asriel and Cassian all stayed when they visit Illyria.
Yeah. Do you think the witches in Throne of Glass are in any way related to the Prithian verse refers to as witches? Some call Nesta a witch at some point.
I don't think that Nesta is actually a witch.
Yeah,
obviously.
I don't either.
I think that the witches are connected with the crossover, but I am still working on some stuff.
Yeah,
so
I will say
close to my chat.
Both Avery and I are. We do think that there's some witch connections, and we're just trying to figure it out because
the only hints I will give you are robes.
Yeah. I was like for a second, I was like, did you not tell me this theory? You definitely did.
Yeah,
we talked about this. So yeah. There's a few things with the witches. I'm sure we'll do a live on witches because I think we both agree. The other really interesting thing, I'm just going to throw in here and say this about ACOTAR because I think it is kind of weird. At the very beginning of ACOTAR, we learn that all of the humans believe that iron is a weakness of the Fae, and so all the humans wear iron. That's not a weakness of the Fae in ACOTAR. It's ash, wood. But in Throne of Glass, it is a weakness. So I do think it was always something that was like, when we discussed it, because it just seems a little funky. So, okay. Do you think that this is another witch question.
That's okay. I like the witch.
Do you think all witches from different worlds are made of Valgan Fae, or do you think they're just modified and made from variations of Valgan Fae?
So I think the witches in Crescent City are probably not Valgan Fae because they are human.
Yeah, I think it was Sam who told me this. I lean towards the idea that the witches in Crescent City are more connected to the healers of Tower of Dawn.
I would agree with that.
And that the witches in Throne of Glass are not ?
Right. Well, and we have not seen any true witches in ACOTAR.
Yes.
But we do have a large group of women who have power, unknown power.
Yeah. I will say this because someone in here, and I just removed the questions because I know it's a very long theory. There is a very deep theory about powers and the power struggles of the different worlds. We will probably do a live just on powers, but we're just not going to go into that tonight just because that could be like a whole discussion about Aelin's power versus Rhys's power versus Bryce's power versus Faye's power. Like, it's just, it's a rabbit hole that we're not going to go into. So if it was your theory, don't worry. I just removed it because Avery and I could go on a tangent on that.
Guys, the amount of like rabbit holes we could go down, I know we've said it 1,000 times, but I'm going to repeat it. You would be here with us for hours, and I'm sure
you would love it.
Want that, but like I don't know about y'all, but it is 9:00 my time, and I would like some sleep.
Yeah. Okay, so the other ones we can kind of wait towards, but let's talk a little bit about Crescent City. So
Okay.
we're gonna tag team this. I'm just gonna kind of start saying things, and then if you want to jump in, feel free.
You want to just alternate between each one? That way you can take the nonsensical map stuff that you put in here.
You just don't want to talk about that, do you?
I don't want to touch that. That's so aggressive.
First off, Sam did that, not me.
I typed in this really nice short thing, and then she just comes in and copy pastes, and I'm like, I can't read this. This is chaotic.
She was like, what? She was like, oh, this looks great. And I was like, hold on, copy paste. It's this massive thing.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
So you start with the mythology.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about gods and goddesses.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, when it comes to Crescent City, the number one thing I would say is a lot of it is unknown. I think this is also where we start to see the overlapping of things. So some of the information we're pulling from is from Earth and Blood. A lot of it is from Sky and Breath, but just to kind of give you an idea. So mythology-wise, the one thing that is very, very clear is that this book leans very heavily into Norse mythology, I think more than any other mythology. Obviously with Midgard and Hel. If you look into Hel as in Hel, and you look into who that is, it is an actual goddess of Norse mythology, and it's very fascinating. So I would say it is worth a search if you're curious.
She's the Norse goddess of the underworld.
Yeah, she's really cool. And then obviously there is Greek mythology that is mentioned. Thanatos. Also Thanatos comes up in ACOTAR as well, but probably a different person. Thanatos is one of the... Right? That would be a mess. Thanatos is one of the Princes of Hell, which we'll get into the Princes of Hell a little bit later. And then obviously Asphodel Meadows. For anyone who doesn't know, Asphodel is the area of the underworld that Hades rules. That is, it's peaceful. It is supposed to be, you want to go to Asphodel Meadows. It's calming. And then there is a little bit of Celtic mythology. This is one of my favorite things, the Danann myth. So whenever you look, if you pick up any Celtic mythology book, the first thing they're going to bring up is the Danann, because that's like your Zeus of Celtic mythology. And the biggest thing is that it's a fertility god, and it's very, very interesting. There's a lot of really cool myth behind it. And so we both think it's funny that Rune's last name is Danann, then obviously with his mythology and all that. And then obviously Avery alluded to this, but the Slavic mythology with the Library of Parthos, and the connection to Illyria. So just kind of throwing that one out there as well. Yeah. And then now you're going to talk about gods and goddesses.
Yep. So you've got Thona. That's how I say her name. It's Cethona. It's possibly Chthona, but I just give her a silent C. Thona is the one that I relate most closely to the mother.
Yeah.
When I talk about the crossover connection between the mother and then there's the three-faced goddess in Throne of Glass. Those are the three.
Because I think Thona is the one whenever, like, because you know how like in ACOTAR they'll say like boil, like cauldron boil me, or you know whatever. I think Thona is the one that they say a lot for that reference, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
I would have to defer to Claire on that one.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Solus is another one.
Erd is another god. That rhymes with something.
I know.
Anyways, moving on. Luna has Luna's horn. She is revered by both the Fae and the wolves, which we later find out are Fae. Fine. Yeah. It's fine. Okay, and then Solus, burning Solus.
Yep.
That you hear it 86 times. Burning Solus. It's like their swear.
Yeah.
But it is they're a god. And then Ogenes is the water god. So you'll hear that referred to mostly with Therian, or the River Queen.
And then the thing, I think it's Thona and Solus. So Thona is the one that Bryce's mother wears the necklace of. And then
yes.
it is okay, good. And then Solus is what Randall was almost a priest of. So just to give you a bit of reference on those two, that is where that comes from.
Solus is the sun god, and Randall was almost a sun priest until he met Bryce and Ember, and then they let him leave before he fully took on the
priest roles.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, this is the map that Avery's like very, very like, what the hell? Oh wait, hold on.
It says a brief map breakdown and then takes over a full page.
Okay, anyways, so so the big thing, obviously, and I think the thing that was really confusing for a lot of folks when going into Sky and Breath, but I think it's a little clearer now, is to just explain the differences between some of these names, because it is really thrown at you like very aggressively and you're just kind of like, what the hell? So Midgard is the planet. That is the planet of which Crescent City takes place on. Then you have Pangaea, which is the continent that we are mainly focusing on. We think it's a continent.
Midgard is also the other name for Earth in Norse mythology.
Yes. Then you have Valbara, which is obviously the territory. This is why you hear, Rune is the Valbaran crown prince. This also plays into effect when you talk about Avalon, because that is another territory.
Crown prince of the Valbaran fae.
Exactly. And then you also have districts inside the territory, and that is where Lunathian / Crescent City takes place. So Lunathian Crescent City is a city inside of the district / territory of Valbara on the continent of Pangaea on the planet of Midgard. There you go. That is the easiest way to do that. Then I couldn't believe how long it took myself to figure this out, but obviously Crescent City 1 and CC2 were divided into the layers of hell. So we're going to go through those layers really quick, starting from the bottom, starting from the top, going all the way to the bottom. Yep, there we go. And then I'll also tell you, because we know 3 of the princes that rule that. So we have the Hollow, we have the Trench, we have the Canyon, and then we have the Ravine. That's where Thanatos rules. This is the one we meet right before the Mystics. That's the guy. Then we have the Chasm. That's Adis. Then we have the Abyss. And then we have the Pit, which is Apollyon.
Who is Hunt's father.
Hunt's father.
I got it out before you. And
Hunt's
really
Hunt's father. I swear, this is the one theory that
I swear to God, if Apollyon is not
I will be so mad. I will be so mad because I am like staking money. I feel like I'm staking money on this. Like,
can we stake actual money on this? This sounds fun.
You and I both agree.
I know.
No one disagrees with us.
Well, that's not necessarily
true.
That's
not necessarily true, but I don't buy a lot of the bullshit theories. Oh yeah, I would agree.
Moving on.
Yeah, okay, I would agree with Claire. We don't know who the Abyss is, and it is really freaking annoying. Okay, then to kind of if Apollyon doesn't go to Terracin, listen. Okay.
Did you not hear me say any of that?
Oh no, I did. Okay. Okay, then the other thing too is I'm going to throw this in here because I do think it's important. So in Earth and Blood, we go to Griffin Antiquities. That's where Bryce originally works. That was the library of Parthos. Inside of Griffin Antiquities, inside the library of Pathos, almost said that weird. I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, we're good. So there was a few books that were very crossover related. There was The Divine Number, which we don't know anything what that means. The Walking Dead, The Book of Breathings, The Queen of Many Faces. The Walking Dead, obviously the book that Aelin uses to get to hell. And then The Book of Breathings, that's the one from Akatar. And then The Queen of Many Faces, while many think that is related to Aelin, it's actually related to the god in Kingdom of Ash, who is described as having many faces. So just in case anyone wonders.
All just really incredibly important to note because that was the first real confirmation of any kind of crossover we had gotten in an SJM book.
Yep. Besides Aelin falling.
Well, yes.
But... Yeah. And then obviously another big thing is that there's 7 gates inside of Crescent City. Those gates include the Old Square Gate, which is also known as the Heart Gate, the Merchant Gate, the Angel's Gate, the Mortal Gate, the Rose Gate, the River Gate, the Dead Gate. If you open the book in Crescent City, you can see where all the gates are located. Okay, last thing, some other locations inside of Pangaea that I feel like are important to note. The Spine, Servast, and Alcine, these are all mentioned in the prologue of Sky and Breath. So don't ask Avery and I where the hell those are because we don't know.
But the But who are they connected to?
Oh, they're connected to Lydia, so that's why she cares so much. She cares so much because it's connected to Lydia. But anyways, the other really important thing is Nidaros. Nidaros is where Bryce grows up. I think it's like, what was it? Claire or Sam is going to correct me. It's up in the mountains. It's the middle of nowhere. And it is described as like, I think it's what, 8 hours away from Crescent City. They have to take a train. That's all I know. But obviously they drive there too. We learned in Sky Breath. So it's very far away.
And it's not only where Bryce grew up, but is where Randall and Ember still currently live.
Yes. And then obviously, yeah, that's
My
it.
turn.
Historical events. Go for it. Thank God, I'm done.
Hey. So major historical events to pay attention to. We've already talked about Parthos in the Library of Parthos. The reveal of that is probably the most important historical event surrounding that. And then First Light and Second Light. We know what First Light is. We found out what Second Light is. And its connection to the Asteri and how they're a parasitic alien race who suck, literally. The summit is held, and it is where we find Jezebel projects like essentially Bryce's trials.
Yeah, her Hunger Games moment.
Yeah, her whole Hunger Games moment. But the most important major event,
the one that was brought up like 20 million times in the first book, and you and I both were like, what is this?
Is the crossing.
The crossing.
Which happened 15,000 years prior to the events of Crescent City.
15,000 years ago.
Which might possibly be why it's like 1510 in Crescent City, or when somebody is born, when some particular person is born, and that is not a January birthday. We only know the year. That is all I'm saying on that.
This is about Gwen. I was like, where are you going with this?
This isn't about Gwen. This is about the fact that people think we know Bryce's birthday when we don't.
Oh, yeah, no, we don't.
Bryreal, anyway.
I was like, where the hell are you? See, I'm not on Bryreal tick.
I avoid it at all costs. But anyways, and then I'm going to talk about holidays because there's only 2, and then I'm going to let you take over on political breakdown because there's a lot. Unless you want me to take.
No, it's fine. No. I can do the political breakdown because I don't.
The vocal rest.
No, I don't want to talk about the weapons.
Do the holidays, but I'll let you talk about the weapons.
I don't want to talk about the weapons.
Okay, well then I'll do both.
No, I'll do the political breakdown, then you can do the weapons. I'm just
okay. There's summer and winter solstice. Done.
Okay, political breakdown. Avery, first off, I just want to quickly point out when I did this last night, it looked like a shit show. And then Avery came in and organized it. And I was like, oh, that makes way more sense. So that was really funny. But anyway, so
to be fair, I was done with my section before you were done with yours.
Yeah, because whatever. Anyways, it was like a
no,
race.
not because I'm better. It's because I have less stuff.
Sure. Okay. But anyways, so the important
because I'm better.
Yeah, that's what she really wants to say. But so when it comes to the political breakdowns, these are the most important things to know. Obviously, Earth and Blood. This is your shifter household. This also is where the witches fall under. The important things to know is obviously the Wolf Prime, the Queen of the Valbaran Witches. That's a totally different thing. Queen of the Valbaran Witches, and then the Human Rebellion. So those are your kind of main 3 things that were falling under there. I actually, quick side note, I thought we were going to get way more information about the Human Rebellion in Sky and Breath than we did. But anyways, then Sky and Breath, 7 Kings of the Fae. These ironically sound very similar to the 7 Courts of Priyan, which now makes a lot of sense.
That's very ironic.
It's very ironic. Then you have the archangels, because this is where the angels fall under. So you have the archangels, you have the angels, you have that whole situation. House of Many Waters, the only 2 that we really interact with is the River Queen and the Ocean Queen. The River Queen sucks. The Ocean Queen seems kind of chill. Seems kind of legit. This is also where
the submarines.
Yeah, they have great submarines. And this is also where Izzy, I swear to God, when she got to this, she was like, this is Little Mermaid. This is Little Mermaid. And I was like, Izzy, finish the book. And she was like, this is Little Mermaid. So she's right. I'm giving.
Priyan is the Little Mermaid retelling. It is not Gwen. She is not a siren.
Yeah.
It is Therian.
Damn, they're really popping off in this freaking Marco Polo chat. Anyways, and
They
then
always tend to do that when we go live, just so we have 287,000 polos to come back.
Well, it's really because they just don't want us in there because that's what we do. But
it's when they can actually talk about things.
Yeah, instead of us being like, actually
no.
Yeah. And then obviously House of Flame and Shadow, that is the Underking Creeper. And then we have the Asteri, the Mystics, and then the Seven Princes of Hell. We already went over the Seven Princes of Hell. The Mystics, there's always a male, a female, and both is the way they describe it, which I was like, what? Okay. And then the Asteri, there is 7 of them. There's actually 6 because one of them is dead.
Sirius is dead.
Sirius is dead. Killed by Apollyon. There you go.
Much like Sirius in Harry Potter.
Wow. Wow.
He is my favorite. I just
That
had to do it.
still hurts.
Did I tell you Order of the Phoenix is my favorite book?
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's mine too.
Same person, different font.
So many people hate Order of the Phoenix, and it's my favorite book.
I love it so much. It's right here. Look.
It's so good.
So first of all,
wait, hold on. Do you know why it's our favorite book? Because of the bullshit. Because of the bullshit prophecy chapter where they're in the.
Look at this. Look at how pretty.
I need the Slytherin ones.
And then. This is Tom.
I have one of those. I don't know where. Wait, maybe I got rid of it. Yeah. We should really plan a.
Sarah, we've ADD'd.
I know. We should really plan a
trip to Harry Potter World?
No.
Well, yes. The answer is yes, but that's not what you were trying to say. Sarah, Earth to Sarah.
Sorry, we have someone spamming the YouTube chat. Please hold.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, there you go. Fixed it.
Yikes. Well, this
is how we do it.
You're gonna get copywritten.
Yeah, right. Okay, go for the weapons.
Okay, so various guns. That's okay. Moving on from various guns. You have the Arkesian Amulet, which is the necklace that Bryce wears to ward off all of the things in Griffin Antiquities. If she didn't have it, she would most certainly be dead. And then you have Luna's horn, which is tattooed now into Bryce's back. Mm-hmm. And then you have Danica's sword, which we don't really know a whole heck of a lot about, other than it's very important to the wolves. And then the Godslayer rifle is what kills Micah, with the Memento Mori bullet is what we have dubbed it. It is a 6-inch golden bullet, with Memento Mori written in the side.
Hell yeah. Remember, you will die.
And then, last but certainly not least, because I have talked about it at length, the only thing I will say is Star Sword.
You forgot one.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. It's not listed, but I just remembered it.
Okay, say it.
The vacuum.
Sarah, if you're not going to contribute to the document, you can't do this. Especially if you
It's my document.
Especially if you refuse to do this section. I saw earlier in the YouTube chat that somebody said that they really enjoyed our sister-like banter, and you're the sister I never had.
Yeah, that's a bitch. Hold on.
What? That was an aggressive tap out. What the hell? What are they doing? They're talking right now. Does it matter? I mean, I'm sure it does.
I'm waiting for them to end so I can go in here and be like, can y'all stop?
Please do.
Yeah, okay, wait, here we go. I'm live on YouTube with Avery and
Chill out!
70 something people, and my phone is going off every few seconds with this little. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Now we're done. Okay, so I'm going to go through this Slido really quick and just pull some of these questions because we have a few remaining ones, but that is the main bulk of all 3 books. If anyone has any questions about world building, there is no stupid question. You can ask the most basic thing. We will not be offended. It's totally fine. Because we just want to make sure.
Might tease you a little bit about it, but we'll still answer.
Yeah, don't worry. It's fine. Okay, so the first one says shadows, starlight, and teleporting equals dusk court magic. Kind of a combination of sunlight and darkness. Oh, God, I hate the dusk court shit.
I know you hate the dusk court shit, but I don't hate that.
I think it makes sense.
I think it logically makes sense. And if we can make the actual connections to the dusk court, I like the idea of that being the magic, because I think one of the biggest issues with the dusk court is deciding what the magic is.
Yeah, I think so. For anyone who's like, they're still going off, I'm just going to mute this. So I think the one thing that I will say about the reason I'm not totally sold on it, although I know it's a thing, like, don't worry, you don't have to like actually sell me on this, is I feel like as of right now in the Agatar world, I don't understand what dusk court magic would be, because there's already enough magical holes, aka someone in the comments explain to me what Moore's magic is besides telling me it's truth. Because no one can. Like, it's not clear. So for me, I don't understand. I know Sarah's going to sell it to me and I'll like totally buy it. But right now, I just don't get what the hell dusk court is. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So that's why I don't buy it. Okay, someone asked about the power ranking. We'll make this really quick because I'm just curious. We haven't done research on this, and we will do research on this, but I'm just going to read them off. So they said Aelin, Bryce, Rhys, Hunt, Dorian. Who do you think has the most power?
Aelin, Bryce,
Rhys, Hunt, Dorian.
Dorian. When are we talking? Like end of series?
Yeah.
Okay, if we're talking end of series, it's Hunt, then Rhys.
That's what I would say.
It's Hunt, then Rhys,
and then Dorian,
and then Dorian, and then
Aelin.
Yeah, we just don't know what Bryce's power is. I think she has a lot of it.
Yeah,
she just doesn't know how to control it.
Yeah.
So I think if we're talking about power, she might outrank
Aelin post KOA.
Post KOA.
Yeah.
If we're talking pre KOA, if we're talking like Battle of Aniel, Aelin's at the top.
Aelin's at the top, yeah. Never gonna let Sarah live that down. Anyways, it's really bothers me. Where do you think death gods come from?
Ooh.
I have a theory, which Avery and I have not really discussed, but it is, I mean, we have kind of, is that so like when it comes to the Asteri and the Valg, they are connected somehow. And I think the death gods and all of that are tied to that circle at some point.
Yeah, I think the death gods may come from their own planet. It would not surprise me if Amryn is from that same planet.
Yeah.
But like a lower life form.
Yeah. The history of the cauldron and how it's connected to Throne of Glass and CC, we'll probably save that because that I think is.
We should save that.
Yeah, we can. Okay.
So if you are interested in looking up stuff on the cauldron, I highly recommend looking into the cauldron myth from Celtic mythology. That's where I would start.
Yep, I would agree. Do you think Illyrians are like angels from CC were made by the Asteri? The witches from CC are like Throne of Glass witches, but also modified. So I think both of us think Illyrians are somehow tied to the Asteri, but we don't know how. And when it comes to the witches, we don't think the witches in Throne of Glass are tied to the CC ones. We think it's the healers from
I think it's very interesting that the Illyrian women have a wider pelvic base and are essentially made very specifically to be able to procreate Illyrian babies.
Yeah.
And that their wings are not malleable like angel wings or seraphim or peregrine wings. So they do not bend. So I think that there is something to be said for that. And if that is because it is not a natural wing,
yeah,
wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, I would agree with you. Someone said,
but like,
we talked about that. Okay, so someone asked about the monolith on top of Romeo. How do you say that?
Romeo.
Thank you. Because it's a black stone. We did look into the difference. We did look into see if it was, Avery and I looked into could it be connected to the word gate, and I think we both concluded that it was a no for right now.
It's not. Yeah,
it's not the same material.
No, it's not the same material. It does teleport, which is very interesting, but it is only on the 1 day a year. And it is one of the things I believe that was protected by Annalius.
Yeah, and I think also. So going off of that, because I remember that day that we looked into that, we then looked into the cauldron to see if the cauldron could be made of the same material as the word gate, and I think we both agreed that's a no. So because the word gate is definitely like an otherworldly object, I don't think any object is made from word.
And I think it's very important to note that things that are described as otherworldly are the magic surrounding the harp in the prison.
Yes.
So if we're talking about gates, essentially, we may not be looking specifically at materials, but rather magic. So we need to also be paying attention to that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let me see. Someone asked about, which I'm going to save this question. It's about the human line in the bone carver. So we can save that for later. Sure. Someone asked, do you think, which you and I both can answer this, can Rune open a portal to Prythian too because he's also Starborn, or could Bryce only do it because she had the horn? It was because of the horn. Rune would definitely have close ties to the Starborn line, Prythian because of that, but yeah.
It's complicated because there was a portal already in the Asterian Palace that Bryce jumped through.
Yeah.
And it was the horn that helped guide her to Prythian, if I remember correctly, but she didn't like use the horn.
It wasn't the horn. It was the Starborn line.
Okay.
That's what, or at least that was what
because in Sarah's had told after she was going after people who could help her.
Yeah.
And that's what guided her to Prythian. And that's what Sarah said in an interview post Hosab. But there's still a whole lot to be done.
Yeah. Well, and for sure. I think the other thing too about where is it? Rune, the portal, blah, blah, the horn. So going back a little bit, because Izzy, love her to death. We love Izzy to death, but we call her the Tom
Holland.
We call her the Tom Holland of our friend group because she can't keep a secret, which is hysterical. But when
God, she
tries, but she can't. And she's gotten better though. She's gotten a lot better. But
what's the best part is she's the professional.
Yeah. But what was funny was, so when our friend Alex was reading Hosab, we got to very early on in her journey of Hosab, she accidentally got spoiled about the Reese thing. And Avery and I were able to fix that. We were able to rectify and
I later found out that she didn't fully believe us, but we got it close enough to where she was questioning it.
Yeah. So, but one of the things we told her was, because no one in our friend group trusts me unless I say I swear on Rowan's life, but I don't even think that works anymore. But I will say, I told her I swear on Rowan's life, Bryce doesn't use the horn. Because she didn't use the horn to travel. She used the gate that Regulus wanted her to activate, using her Starborn ability and the horn to activate. And she went through it because the gate was already activated, not because of the horn. So, that is something that's like kind of to note, is like Bryce has not actually used the horn yet. She will to go to Terracin, because you know who can open a portal to hell? Aelin. Anyways, this is a really good one, which Avery and I have debated on this. This is, okay, if you've seen, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, Avery took a million screenshots of me having a full-on breakdown about basically this topic. And it is, do you think that Hunt is a peregrine or a seraphim?
Hunt is an angel.
Right, but it's unclear is the best way I can describe it. If I had to take a wild guess, I think he is a seraphim. I don't think he is related to the courts. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Asteri made the cauldron?
It's something I've debated about.
Yeah.
I think so. It's complicated. Either one of two things has happened. The Daglin are the Asteri, or the Daglin are Asteri-like, Asteri adjacent. And I think the Daglin had something to do with the cauldron, but that does not necessarily mean that the Asteri made the cauldron.
At this point, I would be surprised if the Asteri are not the Daglin.
I would too, but I don't want to say definitively until I have actual evidence.
Right.
For that. Yeah. But I would lean towards the Daglin being the Asteri. But they are the but if at the most they're Asteri adjacent.
Yeah. So someone goes, so could Rune use the portal at the palace to reach Bryce since they have the same power? I don't think he can, because
I don't think his Starborn power is big enough.
Yeah, I think like what's really interesting about Bryce's power, they explain it, but she's essentially like an energy source conduit. So she is literally a gate, which is what I think Declan tells her, where like you put power into her and then she can bring it out. Rune's power is, let's be honest, it's a watered down version of Reese's power. It's like shadows and a little bit of Daemoni, but only a part of it. Like it's not Daemoni, but it is. And
he can, it's complicated.
Yeah, it's watered down version of Reese.
But basically he is very specifically not Asriel's Shadow Singer ability. If anyone's the closest related to that, it would be Cormac, but I still don't think that's exactly it.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. So I don't think Rune can travel through that way. I think at this point, I would be surprised if anyone travels to Bryce to Prithian. I think Bryce is going to have to travel back.
Yeah. I think if anything, we're in Prithian. Bryce figures out how to travel again, tries to go to hell again, misses again. Or she very intentionally goes to Terracin. One of the two things happens. But she's going to end up in Terracin or Adderlin just to piss Sarah off.
No, she's going to, you know where she's going to end up? I'm willing to bet money. Well, I don't want to bet money on this, but I think I'm going to be right. She's going to end up in the salt mines of Endovier.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Because where she landed in Prithian is where Nesta landed when the last time, obviously, a portal was open. And the last time a portal was open in Torn of Glass
that's true.
Was in Endovier.
That's true.
So,
anyways, and then, so that will happen. Or, from there, that's how she gets to hell, is Aelin helps her open the portal to hell.
Yeah.
And that's how she gets to hell. And then she then uses her power to bring in, Hell's armies to Crescent City to help save her homeworld. Additionally, I think it's very interesting that she's in Prithian and she has no control of her power, and we have the ability to have something to help control power like hers.
Yeah. Which
is Illyrian siphons. So I'm interested to see if they play any kind of role.
Yeah.
Helping her control her power.
Yeah, I mean, they'll try. It wouldn't surprise me if Cassian and Reese are like, well,
Reese tried to hold it and his power was just too great. It's not that he couldn't use one, it's that it broke every time he tried.
Yeah. So I think it'll be good. It'll be a fun time. Any last minute questions, comments, concerns? Right. So Avery and I are going to try and do this at the beginning of every month. We don't know what our topic will be for next month. We have a few up in the air that we might try, depending on what it is. When we get a little closer, we might do like a poll or something to see what you guys are really interested in hearing us talk about. But this one was...
And it might also relate to something that we might talk about later in the month in a different live, because it'll just help add context to some stuff we're already going to talk about. So
yeah. And
we have no real plan other than that we want to do this.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is like so many people obviously want to talk theories, and theories are a lot of fun, but we have so much time between now and the release of CC3 that, you know, we want to kind of spread the wealth a little bit. We don't want to just come out of the gate with a theory. And so, you know, probably next month we'll do I'm assuming, I don't know, more of a generic one. And then once we start going into the rereads, they might be more garnered towards those rereads a little bit. I don't know. Yeah. We haven't really talked about it.
But most of these theory lives are going to always be SJM full spoilers unless we specifically state otherwise. So I would just go ahead and go into these knowing that.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is we're still doing Y'all Reaching. So that's the crack theory lives that we're doing with Taylor and Izzy as well. Those are a lot of fun. I'm trying to think. So we have a really crazy next 2 months, the two of us. So we have this live we're doing once a month. Avery and I are also obviously doing the Y'all Reaching lives. Next week, we are starting the Guild and Glint / Gleam lives. So those are plated prisoners. They're going to be kind of similar to the From Blood and Ash ones, but know that they're going to be way more lax. Like Avery and I are not doing a reread. We just read them a month ago. So like, it's going to be more like...
Well, I might reread Gleam just for shits and gigs.
Yeah, same, honestly. But we're not going to reread Guild and Glint. If anything, it'll probably just be us, you know, talking about those books and the significance and the importance of them. You guys could definitely...
if you haven't read the Plated Prisoner series, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Someone said, really quickly on the SJM reread. So I think at the end of this month, I will have a form for you guys to fill out so that you can stay up to date on anything regarding the SJM reread. So we'll most likely keep you guys updated on Instagram, which is going to be on the Rosebuds Realm Instagram account, and then also on the newsletter. So for right now, just know that we know you guys are super excited. We are super excited.
We are very excited. Additionally, I just want to throw it out there that Sarah and I also, while we treat this like a full-time job, have full-time jobs. So if we don't answer an Instagram message or a Discord message or anything like that, it is not because we don't want to talk to you. It is because we are just so freaking busy.
Yeah. I think last night we stayed up till like what? Your time, 12:30, 1 a.m.?
Yeah. And then, and just so you know, I don't know how many of you know what my job is, but I'm an events coordinator or an events manager for like a local city. And so any of those like small town events that you go to, that's my entire life right now. So we're entering what we like to call the busy season.
Yeah.
So
if you ever see like something get switched up on the schedule or anything, it's because we've had to make some moves, but we do our best to plan out as far in advance as we can. So let me just think.
We'll keep you as up to date as we can as those changes are.
So we have the Guild and Glint ones coming up. We have that one. There's a possibility we might have a really casual live coming up. And then we will also have White Hot Kiss, which is something I will be doing.
We have series, spicy, and monthly book clubs as well.
Yeah, To Love Jason Thorne, Guild and Glint, I should say. And then the series club is doing Dark Elements. And then monthly's taking a break in July. Thank goodness. Yeah. So we have a lot going on. I don't know how
I added all of the Notion stuff to my calendar at work today and went.
Yeah, welcome to my life. I honestly don't know how you guys do on top of it with full-time work. It's honestly a lot of really late nights, and the fact that Sarah and I talk literally every day. And this is, I sit here and I'm like, yeah, I'm super busy too, but like, this is Sarah's baby. I'm literally just the assist. Yeah. So I'm here, but Sarah is taking all of this on. And while she has help, she needs more help
If you like social media, she's looking for somebody.
I am. I'm looking for someone to
Shout
take over
out.
my social media because I am like,
It's a volunteer position, much like me.
It's very volunteer. I wish. I'm waiting for the day that someone finds us and they're like, I'll give you guys a grant. And I'll be like, I'm paid, everyone.
Done.
I'll be like so excited.
It's like you get a job and you get a job.
I will be literally the happiest person alive when that happens. But yeah, no. So we're really excited. The SJM, Avery and I are currently hard at work on the stuff for the SJM reread. We're actually starting it now. But yeah. Do you guys think we might get some SJM news soon? I swear to God, if we don't get anything about this Throne of Glass 10-year anniversary, I'm gonna be like, this is a missed opportunity, Bloomsbury.
Not only that, but you're going to be insufferable for several weeks.
August 2nd.
Love you.
August 2nd, 2022 is the 10-year anniversary of Throne of Glass. And yeah, so if anyone's wondering, that's when it is. The reread starts the week after. We're doing a whole thing for Throne of Glass for the week of the 10-year anniversary.
It's going to get wild.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited.
Yeah. New additions.
That would be wonderful.
I mean,
I'd love to be able to tell you that we know that information, but we don't.
I literally emailed Bloomsbury and they were like, thanks so much for emailing us. And I was like, okay, so nice chatting with you.
Got it.
Oh, I would die. The bonus chapters are like, I would cry. I have quite a few of them, but yeah. All right. Well, we're going to sign off. Avery and I are you good? I'm honestly tonight. Let's just take a break. You want to convene tomorrow?
Yeah, we can.
We can still talk, but I just don't want to do any work tonight.
No. I figured. No, we can stop talking about work tonight.
Yeah, aka us working on notes. But yeah, ordering all my Throne of Glass books for the reread. I would highly recommend ordering them now because it looks like that they are selling out. So that's what
I will not be doing is any more additional work tonight.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Okay. All right. Bye, friends. Good night.
Bye, friends.
Hopefully that put the right screen on it. I can't tell. Oh, it did. Cool. All right. They can still hear you, by the way.
Okay, that's fine. Dude,
we did that in under 2 hours.
Tequila.
That's impressive. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be like that every night.
No, but I mean, on other nights it'll get wild, and that'll be okay.
Yeah,
we'll expect it to get wild, and we'll adequately prepare them. And if we need to start it an hour earlier because we think we're going to go for 4 hours, then we'll start it an hour earlier because we think we're going to go for 4 hours.
Yeah. Go for 4 hours. Jesus.
Sarah, I've gone for 4 hours with you before. Let's not pretend like it's
it's
not a possibility.
I know. Okay, let me find the YouTube page that I was looking at.
It's still up right now
on
my phone.
I know it is. I have so many tabs open on my computer. It's unreal. I was at this.
I have to